What is a prenuptial agreement?
If an agreement is made prior to marriage, it's called prenup.
Do you think it's more suitable for the rich only, or others should consider one as well?
If a client comes to me and says, I have more assets than my spouse, my advice to that person would be, whether it's a male or female, get a prenup.
Are the parents involved as well, or it's just the partners?
Lately, we are encountering a number of cases in which properties are jointly owned.
Is it fair to say that it protects the high income partner more than it protects the other?
Not just high income, but the person who has more assets.
What could be the repercussions if someone just does it online? What could be one of the reasons that a person might request their partner to consider doing a marriage contract?
One would be they are having problems in the marriage, but the person who has more assets does not want to take the chance anymore.
So say one of the spouses is now considering to prepare a postnup with you, and he's just not sure how to approach this topic with his partner, right? What advice would you give him?
On the face of it, all family law cases look alike. But the moment you see between the lines, everything is different.
Hi, I'm Manish Kapoor tuning in from Canada, and I'm really glad you're here. This is where we sit down with some amazing minds, leaders, creators, and change makers to talk about the things that matter. Every episode is a chance to learn something new, get inspired, or just hear a fresh take. So let's get into it.
On today's podcast, I'm joined by Preet Kaler, a highly respected family lawyer practicing in the Greater Toronto area. Preet has been serving clients since 1997 and brings nearly 3 decades of experience in family law. Over the years, he has handled some of the most complex cases involving divorce, custody, support, and property division. Known for his deep expertise and professionalism, Preet has earned an outstanding reputation with both the courts and his clients. We are excited to have him share his insights today as we dive into the important topics of prenuptial and postnuptial agreements. If you like the content of our shows and want to keep up with more conversations like this, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also drop a comment with your thoughts or share the video with someone who might benefit from the discussion. We are a small but a growing channel, and your support through subscribing, commenting, or sharing really means a lot to us. Thank you, and let's get started. All right, Mr. Clare, thank you so much for being here and doing this with us. I was really interested to do this topic with someone, and I'm really happy that an expert like you could take out some valuable time and discuss this topic with us. So how we'll start is I'll just ask you some fun questions and then we'll get down to the main topic. Sure. Okay. So tell me, is there a movie or show that you've watched multiple times and that you really love?
Well, you have started with a difficult question, but first of all, thank you for having me. It's always fun and a pleasure to impart whatever information or knowledge you can to the audiences. So coming back to your question, a few movies come to mind now because I am primarily from South Asia. I like South Asian and English movies.
Okay.
So if I were to pick one from both areas, the movie I'll pick from South Asia would be Sholay.
Sure.
It's a beautiful movie.
One of my favorites as well.
I was a very, very young kid when I first watched that movie, and over the course of years, I have watched that number of times, and I can still watch it.
For sure.
And from English, there are quite a few, but my favorite is My Cousin Winnie.
Oh, nice.
So it relates to law, and it puts the humor in law.
For sure.
Usually there is very less humor, as you probably are aware.
Absolutely.
But when you mix law and humor, I think it becomes very interesting.
That's
so
amazing.
Those would be the two main movies I'll
recall.
Great.
And then one sport that you like playing and one sport that you love watching. It could be the same sport.
Actually, it is the same.
Okay.
Growing up, the only sport that I was introduced to was cricket.
Okay.
I came to Canada years ago. I haven't played it.
Okay.
But I still watch it. Like the Asia Cup that's going. The last match I watched was between India and Pakistan last Sunday.
Right.
I did play cricket in my younger days. I represented the state of Punjab in
Oh, nice.
under 19, but that was years ago.
Okay. Don't worry. I play a lot of cricket myself, even now. And again, my favorite sport, I've had a couple of guests who've spoken about cricket only. So that's great to know. One of the days you want to hit a ball, let me know. We'll plan something.
I might also tell you the game I just do not like.
Yeah.
And that would be golf.
Okay.
Not my kind of game.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
too
yeah.
slow.
Yeah.
And I've always associated that with old generation.
Okay.
So I don't think I ever liked golf.
And it's a tough sport. I've tried it once. It seems easy that, you see a ball and hit it. But I tried and I wasn't good at all.
Maybe that is the reason I didn't like it either.
Okay, perfect. And one childhood snack that you still crave for?
I like sweets. Again, going back.
Does not look like you're like.
Well, yeah,
You're
but
pretty fit.
Yeah, the one that it's hard when it comes to Indian sweets.
Yeah.
But the one I like it is rasgullas.
Awesome. I love them as well. That's great. Great. That's great. So now we'll get down to the main topic. It's about prenuptial agreements, postnuptial agreements. So tell us, what is a prenuptial agreement and what's a postnuptial agreement?
Well, the easiest way to distinguish that, Manish, would be if an agreement is made prior to marriage.
Okay.
It's called prenup.
Okay.
If it's made after marriage, it's called a marriage contract.
Okay.
Other than the name, nothing else is different.
Okay.
But then there are other agreements as well, which could be parenting agreements, it could be cohabitation agreements, any agreements that deals with any rights that people have against the other in the event of a breakdown.
Okay. So it's basically, from what I understand, it's the timing, right? So prenup is before marriage, postnup is after marriage. And correct me if I'm wrong, cohab is between partners who are not married.
Or same-sex partners.
Okay.
Or partners who are living in common law.
Okay.
Because in Ontario,
Yeah.
common law spouses do not have, for example, right to property.
Okay.
So it's always helpful if people are in cohabitation,
Okay.
not married, not intending to be married. They can have cohabitation agreement which would define how they want to deal with property
see.
going forward.
Okay, perfect. Now, I did some quick search on prenup, and it was on ChatGPT, and I'll just read out what came up, right? So, prevalence in Canada, 8% of Canadian couples have a prenup agreement. Attitude in Canada, 61% of Canadians think prenups are a smart financial decision, but only 35% said they have or would want one for themselves. Prevalence in US, 20% of the married couples in US have a prenup, so as compared to 8% in Canada. General awareness in US, 50% of US adults are open to signing a prenup. I also checked if there is any correlation between prenups and divorce rates. So this thing came up. There is some evidence that making prenups more legally enforceable correlates with lower divorce rates. Again, this is not conclusive and there could be various different factors, right? So just keeping this in context, and obviously we hear a lot about prenups and postnups these days. I thought, I'll ask you or check with you in more detail about these prenups. So, because you do family law, you see this on a much closer level, right? So, do you think there's been a rise in inquiries about prenup agreements recently?
For sure. Now, I'll have to put these two things in different perspective.
Okay.
We have the main community.
Yeah.
And then we have South Asian community.
Okay.
I, in the recent years, have catered more towards the South Asian community.
Okay.
It's still a taboo
Yeah.
in South Asian community.
Okay.
And it's a taboo for a variety of factors.
Yeah.
One, people think, especially the parents, that this is not the first right step into the marriage.
Okay.
Whereas in the general community, it's more prevalent.
Yeah.
People are more open to this.
Yeah.
But the stats that you have just read a few minutes ago
Yeah.
seems like Canada is more closed society than
Right.
the US.
Yeah.
But I think there could be a reason for that.
Okay.
And the reason could be that in US there is community property and then there's non-community property in different states.
Okay.
In Canada, we mainly deal with kind of matrimonial property, so
Right.
it's a subject to division.
Okay.
So people, if anything, I think people would be more, should be more inclined towards
Yeah.
having agreements in Canada.
Okay.
Because if it's a community property state,
Yeah.
like Ontario is a equalization province,
Yeah.
they can save on a lot of money.
Sure.
Whether it has gone up in numbers, the answer is yes. When I started my practice years ago,
Yeah.
and probably I'll be giving my age if I tell you when I did. So the main issue was usually a house.
Yeah.
Maybe one car, maybe two cars.
Right.
There was hardly anything to divide.
Right.
Now you deal with people who
Yeah.
have multiple houses,
Right.
multiple businesses,
Mm-hmm.
multiple assets. So if anything, prenup or marriage contracts are or should be a must now for people who are coming into the marriage with deeper pockets.
Okay. Okay. But like, obviously, recently you've seen more inquiries towards that, and people asking you if this can be done, and what are the charges.
Yes, interestingly, Manish, people who are getting into second relationship
Yeah.
would be more
I see.
interested in getting into this
Yeah.
agreement.
Yeah.
First time, people who are getting married for the first time are still low in numbers.
Okay.
When it comes to it,
Yeah.
unless they are inheriting a lot of property.
Okay.
In
I
which
see.
in which case they would be inclined to protect the interests if they can. And obviously, I can follow up with inheritance because inheritance by law is automatically excluded.
Mm-hmm.
So if the inheritance is kept on the side, not intermingled in the family, then anything that a person inherits during the marriage is excluded.
I
The
see.
spouse cannot claim it.
Okay.
But then there is a difference between inheritance before marriage.
Okay.
So let's say somebody inherits a day before marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Then if there's any appreciation to that inheritance, that is subject to division. If a person inherits a day after marriage, there is no exclusion. Or there is total exclusion, and no division.
I see.
So
Okay.
timing is crucial.
Crucial. Okay. Yeah, we will get back to this thought once again. But getting back to prenups only, do you think it's more suitable for the rich only, or others should consider one as well? Like,
Simonish, if a client comes to me and says, I have more assets than my spouse, my advice to that person would be, whether it's a male or female, get a prenup because you have more assets to protect. Marriage is never certain. The outcome is never certain. But then you also have to look at two people coming into the marriage who are at equal footing. But then who knows with time who's going to prosper more? One of them might be making $1 million 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
The other person may still be at minimum wage.
Yeah.
So how do you protect yourself?
Right.
So whether a person is rich or not rich or at equal footing, it's always better to have a contract that
Okay.
protects their rights. Now, going further on that, most of the people prefer putting a time limit to a contract.
Yeah.
Like, I have done 5 years.
Okay.
If the marriage is good for 5 years, they may say it's going to be rescinded
Okay.
after 5 years.
Okay.
But 5 years gives them a pretty good idea
Yeah.
as to how the marriage is going on.
Interesting. Now, how does a person prepare a prenup? Like, they approach you and, like, do you represent both the couple, or how do you prepare a prenup?
There'll be a conflict of interest. So the answer whether I can represent both sides
Is no.
Not
Okay.
is a clear no.
So you prepare a prenup, say you represent one party, you prepare a prenup, and then you ask that the other party or the partner has another lawyer and they review it with them and sign it with them. Is that how it works?
Yes.
Okay.
So once you get retained, you would prepare an agreement.
Okay.
The agreement mainly deals with two aspects of it. It
Okay.
could be more, but mainly two: property and spousal support.
Okay.
If there are children from previous relationships, that can also be an issue.
Okay.
Then you give legal advice to your client, and then you send the document to the other party with the recommendation that they should get a lawyer.
Okay.
But it's up to that party to whether to get a lawyer or not. But an agreement signed without a lawyer is always open to challenges.
I see.
So they can ask for that agreement to be set aside on the basis that they did not understand the consequences and implications of signing that agreement.
This episode is sponsored by Kapoor Law Firm, your trusted real estate law firm serving all of Ontario. Whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing a home or business, their expert team can guide you through every step. And here's a bonus for our listeners. Subscribers to this show can receive a one-time coupon for their upcoming closing. Visit thekapoorpodcast.com to claim yours. I see. So, again, we are having this recording in September 25. What are the costs for someone who approaches you to have a prenup done?
Depends on what the assets are.
Okay.
One part of that agreement would be a chart of all the assets and liability that person has. And that is important, Manish, because we do not know when the marriage would break down and if the marriage would break down. Let's say there is no 5-year limit and the marriage breaks down in 10 years.
Okay.
The issue would be, how can you prove the assets? The bank may not keep any records beyond 5 years.
Okay.
Some of them may keep it for 7 years. So if you have a clear indication as to what a person is bringing into the marriage, that is always helpful. Now, if the agreement only has a couple of assets, house, car, bank balance, it's not going to be time consuming for me.
Okay.
But if a person has hundreds of assets,
Yeah.
then obviously there'll be more time for me.
You'll have to structure it based on that. Okay.
So it can vary anywhere between $2,000 to $5,000
Okay,
depending
so for a
on
basic, it's going to be about
For the
2,000.
basic, yes.
Okay, I understand. So, when you're preparing the prenups, are the parents involved as well, or it's just the partners who are normally involved in preparing?
I'm glad you asked that. Lately, we are encountering a number of cases in which properties are jointly owned between the spouses and their parents.
Okay.
Now, the issue becomes, are they the real owners of those properties? Because sometimes the names are put just as respect
Yeah.
to the parents. Other times, all the money is given by the parents as opposed to spouses. So
Right.
then we come into the concept of who's the beneficial owner
Okay.
of that property.
Okay.
So yes, indirectly the parents are involved. And if there's an acknowledgement saying this property belongs to my parents, not me, although my name is on it because they put in the money.
So
that
do you do a trust agreement for that, or no?
No.
Okay.
But because this is between a husband and a wife,
Okay.
if there's a clear acknowledgement that we understand that's
Yeah.
not your property.
Yeah.
But on your point, a trust agreement can also be beneficial.
Yeah.
But it would be more beneficial if it's contemporary.
Yeah.
If it's done years down the road, who knows how it would stand in court.
Okay. And then when you're preparing a prenup, right? Apart from the assets, could there be other clauses like in regards to cheating, in regards to religion, in regards to relationships, in-laws that can be incorporated in a prenup?
Let me break that in two. The answer to that is yes, there could be a number of clauses, but none of them would be enforceable.
Okay.
So if somebody says you have to stay chaste, you cannot have any relationship with any other person, how do you enforce it?
Right.
So you can put anything in an agreement.
Okay.
But the issue is when it comes to a court and comes to determination, what would stand out? If there are more non-enforceable clauses, then the entire agreement may be set aside,
Oh, really?
saying it's unconstitutional or it is for an ulterior purpose or whatever the case may be. So I would not recommend that clauses be put that cannot be enforced in court. And that could affect liability of a lawyer. Whoever is preparing it should know what clauses can be enforced later on and what cannot. Say, for example, just to give you an example, people may put saying, in case of separation, I will have custody of the children.
Yeah.
Or decision making.
Yeah.
But that's unenforceable.
Okay.
You cannot, the law does not permit you to do that.
Okay.
And then if it's in there, your client may come back to you and say, by the way, what were you thinking when you were putting that in? So it opens you to more liability. So my suggestion is to younger lawyers, do not include anything that you think would tomorrow be unenforceable.
So have a clear discussion with your client, explain the consequences of adding such clauses and how it could impact them in the future.
Right. And same thing would apply to any contract.
Yeah.
Any contract that is vague, any contract that is not clear, any contract that's against the law would obviously be unenforceable.
Okay. So say one partner has more authority over the other and he emotionally blackmails or forces the other partner to sign a prenup, right? What happens if it's later found out that this was the situation?
You're talking about duress.
Yeah.
So in that case, the person who has been forced to sign it against the will can ask the court to set it aside. Now remember, the person who's making that allegation has an onus of proving duress.
Yeah.
But if there is independent legal advice from a lawyer, the chances is that it would be a very difficult hurdle.
Okay.
Now, I do remember a few cases in which we had to encounter that, in which there was legal advice, but the husband had brought the wife, and he was sitting outside in the car.
Okay.
And I do remember one particular case in which the threat was, if you tell anything to your lawyer and not sign it, see what I will do to you.
Oh, really? And so he was sitting in...
He was unknown to the lawyer.
Okay.
So when I got involved, I was able to convince the court that was the case, and on that basis, it was set aside.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. My God. So prenups, is it fair to say that it protects the high-income partner more than it protects the other?
Yes.
Yeah?
Not just high income, but the person who has more assets.
Okay.
Like if somebody is bringing into the marriage a house, which is worth $3 million, all paid for.
Yeah.
The law says the moment the wife, I don't want to basically be kind of biased against any gender. So let's say the wife brings in $3 million house. Husband starts living in that house. The husband would be able to claim equalization of that, meaning 50%. The only recourse is if the marriage lasts less than 5 years, then there could be unequal division. But if the marriage is more than 5 years, no matter what the wife does in this case, the husband would be able to claim half. Unless, of course...
So is that a rule that 5 year...
5 years is defined under Family Law Act.
I see.
Section 5F of Family Law Act. But if there's a agreement, prenup, or a marriage contract, then this can be excluded.
Okay. So say in the same scenario, if the wife, if the couple break up within a year of getting married, right? And like you said, the wife brings in the property, the assets, and the husband comes with nothing. So how will this then be distributed?
Now, that's pretty mathematical.
Okay.
If you look at just not excluding matrimonial home,
Yeah.
it really does not make any difference.
Okay.
Because anything a person brings into the marriage is excluded,
Okay.
other than the matrimonial home. And there is no division after separation. So if somebody acquires some assets after separation, it's not
Okay.
divided.
Okay.
But then you're looking at two dates. What's there on the date of marriage
Yeah.
vis-a-vis what's there on the date of separation.
Okay.
If there's a house, things are different. Because if there's a house, the house automatically gets in for its entire value.
Oh, okay.
And it's the second person who claims the marriage only lasted for a short while who has to prove why there should be unequal division of net family property.
And how can you simplify that? Do you have seen this or encountered such a situation?
The argument that I make, which I've been successful in court, is why don't we see how much the marriage, how long did the marriage last?
Yeah. So the timing.
Right.
Yeah.
So 5 years would be 60 months.
Yeah.
If it's 60 months, person gets half of the house. That's the law.
Yeah.
What if the marriage only lasted 30 months, for example?
Yeah. Or maybe even less.
Or even less.
Yeah.
Then you divide the equities in the house into 60 pieces. and then you multiply that by the number of months that they
Okay.
were together.
Okay.
So that has been one aspect of it, not the only aspect of it, but that has been one that I've been successful in convincing the judge. Because
Okay.
what judges want is seeing a kind of an explanation as to how you come up with that number. Now, I
Okay.
say that as because I also have seen the cases from the other side
Yeah.
of the bench.
Yeah.
I sit as a deputy judge in small claims court.
Okay.
So I want to see numbers.
Yeah.
If somebody convinces me with numbers,
Yeah.
I'm more likely going to agree with them.
Yeah.
If somebody just makes an argument without giving me an explanation.
Yeah.
So I've learned it sitting from that side, that from a judge's perspective, give them the number.
Okay.
Give them the explanation.
Yeah,
And
more
they are-
clarity and-
They're more
yeah.
likely to side with you if you do that.
Okay, perfect. Now, we see a lot of do-it-yourself platforms, online platforms where you can go and ask for a standard prenup agreement, and people sometimes do that. I've seen $250, $350 prenup agreements online, right? So, is it safe? And if not, then what could be the repercussions if someone just does it online?
I'll have to look at it from two different angles. One, what is at stake? So if two people just starting out have hardly any assets or major income, they may work for them. But then the issue becomes, who would give them independent legal advice on it? Because
Yeah, no one, obviously.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to sign on something that I did not prepare,
Okay.
that I do not understand.
Yeah.
And then it's prone to challenge by one or both.
Yeah.
Saying, we do not know what we were signing. We got this from online. We both signed it.
Yeah.
And now one person wants it to be implemented.
Yeah.
The second person doesn't want that to be implemented. So it's more of getting a lawyer at that stage is more of an insurance than
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah.
So I would not particularly
Recommend
that people do online.
So it could
contracts.
eventually amount to nothing, right? If it's not properly done.
Not only that, we again go back to duress.
Yeah.
One person can say, well, I was told to sign it, otherwise there'll be no marriage.
Yeah.
Or I was forced to sign it.
Yeah.
And then one person may say, well, metaphorically, there was a gun on my head. And therefore I had no choice but to sign it. How do you then deal with it?
Right.
But with a lawyer present, lawyer preparing it, at least
Yeah.
we overcome those problems.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So you just initially touched a little bit on this, and I want to get back to this again. I believe, and I could be wrong, in India, prenup is not valid. In Canada, US, North America, it's enforceable, right? So say a South Asian couple, right? Maybe one of the partners is from India, one from born and brought up here. They are going to get married. They're thinking of prenup. Do you think there could be confusion in regards to a prenup? And have you seen certain situations? And what do you advise in such situations?
Firstly, Manish, I'm not sure what the Indian law is.
Yeah. Yeah, my limited search mentioned that it's not enforceable. There could be a contract in India between two adults, but because marriages in India fall under Hindu Act or Muslim Act, right? And hence, what my search showed that it's not legally valid.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I were to think about any cases that I have done, I would recall a few in which people are getting married. One of the spouse, for example, lives in India.
Yeah.
And the other lives in Canada.
Yeah.
But their domicile or their future place of residence would be Canada.
Yeah.
In that case, yes, prenup agreements have been done.
Okay.
In which you advise the other party,
Yeah.
either through your client or directly, saying get a Canadian lawyer to give you ILA.
Yeah.
These days it can be done over Zoom.
Yeah.
They can DocuSign or
Okay.
sign before a notary public.
Yeah.
But eventually the agreement would define
Yeah.
as to which laws would this be under. And
So if they are residing or living in Canada, eventually, then it is a valid contract.
it is valid. And it would say if, the laws of the province of Ontario would apply
Yeah.
in case it needs to be
Yeah.
dealt with. And then because the person who's in India had legal advice from an Ontario lawyers,
Yeah.
so they don't have the option of saying we did not understand what we were signing.
I see.
Now, on that account, then there would be other things that a person needs to be careful about. Now, if a person sponsors somebody, under Immigration Act, they have to give an undertaking.
Okay.
So if they give an undertaking to Immigration Canada, that prevails.
What is the undertaking?
Undertaking is a spouse saying, let this person come in.
Okay.
I would undertake to financially support this person for 3 years.
Okay.
From India, it's 3 years. From certain countries, it could be 10 years.
Okay.
Even if there is an agreement,
Yeah.
the undertaking always prevails.
Okay.
But
So the undertaking would supersede the prenup.
in a way, because if
Okay.
a person goes on welfare,
Yeah.
the spouse who has been sponsored
Yeah.
goes on welfare,
Yeah.
you cannot rely upon this agreement, because agreement is not with Government of Canada. It's
Okay.
between two individuals, and the undertaking is to the Government of Canada.
I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that clarifies a little bit about this topic. We are also proud to be sponsored by Kapoor Vastralaya, with locations in Mississauga, Ontario, Surrey, British Columbia, and Fremont, California. For the finest selection of ethnic Indian clothing, visit your nearest store and explore their beautiful collection. And just for our subscribers, you can get a one-time discount coupon by visiting thekapoorpodcast.com and filling out the form. Okay, so we'll also talk about postnuptial agreements, which you mentioned it's a marriage contract, right? So do you see a rise in that in the last 10 years or so?
I don't have the stats, but I think there are more people doing prenup agreements.
Postnups.
Prenup.
Okay,
not,
prenup,
Not
prenup.
postnup.
Okay.
So marriage contracts are still rare.
Okay.
Because by the time they're married. So at that point in time, it can only be done if
Yeah.
both of them are inclined to do that.
Okay.
So the person wanting a marriage contract would have to convince the other party
Yeah.
to do it.
Right.
And what incentive would the other party have?
Right.
So there are less marriage contracts than prenup.
I see. I see. So, like you said, what could be one of the reason that a person might request their partner to consider doing a marriage contract?
One would be they are having problems in the marriage. They want to reconcile, but the person who has more assets does not want to take the chance anymore. They may say, fine, I'll reconcile, but on the basis that you enter into this agreement, then we again come up with whether there was a free will on the part of the second person who's signing it.
Yeah.
But usually marriage contracts are done when there is a problem in the marriage.
I see.
Or
Or maybe a potential problem that
a potential
could come.
problem. The other aspect I can think of is they were too busy planning their marriage before, so they were not able to do it
I
before
see.
marriage.
Yeah.
They may do it a month or 2 months after the marriage.
Okay, quite reasonable. Yeah. So it was a quick marriage and they didn't agree on anything and they are now doing it after.
In that case, they'll be still kind of on good terms.
Yeah.
But if one of them is having, like, say, one of the spouse was caught cheating,
Yeah.
the other person may not trust that spouse,
Partner. Yeah.
but would be willing to take a chance for the sake of the children or otherwise.
Yeah.
Then the one spouse may say, well, I'll only take this chance
Yeah.
if you sign a prenup agreement, so
Yeah.
that if there is a further incidence
Yeah.
of cheating or otherwise, at least I know where I stand.
Yeah, because I know for a fact that a lot of marriages fail because of financial disputes, right? So, and a lot of times when a couple is preparing to get married, they might or might not have discussed their finances, right? But it's an ongoing conversation, right? Finances, and say one partner is doing better than the other, or if one partner does not have the capability of managing funds. Are these good reasons to consider a marriage contract?
Marriage contract, Manish, can never hurt. That's the way to look at it is. Would it be needed one day? You wish you don't need it.
For sure.
But you never know.
Yeah.
So it's never a bad idea
Yeah.
to have an agreement. And now we are dealing with the people who are fairly well off. They
Yeah.
have properties all over the world.
Right.
And when you have properties in different countries, you are also bound by the laws of those countries.
Okay.
But the Family Law Act of Ontario says your worldwide property would be considered.
Okay.
So you need to then deal with it, what the rights are in those countries.
So say you're primarily resident in Canada,
Yeah.
but you have properties worldwide, then all properties would be considered.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's say somebody has a house in Florida.
Okay.
Then a set-off can take place in Ontario, in which a person can say is he has or she has a house in Florida. It has equity of $500,000.
Yeah.
I want my $250,000 here.
Yeah. Okay. So say one of the spouses is now considering to prepare a postnup with you, and he's just not sure how to approach this topic with his partner, right? He comes up to you. What advice would you give him as to how he can approach the partner?
It would be tailor-made, Manish. Every case is different. I usually joke that on the face of it, all family law cases look alike. But the moment you see between the lines, everything is different. So there could be a scenario in which it's better for the spouse to be talking to the other spouse directly.
Okay.
In which they say, I have met a lawyer.
Yeah.
I want an agreement.
Yeah.
What's your position on that? Other times, we just send the agreement on the instructions of our client directly to the other spouse.
Interesting.
The third case may be in which relatives get involved. So every case would be different. And
Depend on
sometimes-
the scenario.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes children who are now grown up
Yeah.
may get involved.
Okay.
And so all those things would play into a part. So there's never a right or a wrong way of approaching it.
Right.
It would be dependent on the circumstances of a person.
Quite interesting. Now, one of the partners inherits money. I think you touched on this a little bit earlier. So he inherits or she inherits some funds, or they do a business and it gets quite successful, and because of their own hard work, they've created those assets. Can a postnup help them protect those assets or funds?
Surely it can.
Okay.
But let's say there is no agreement between the two.
Yeah.
Even then, inheritance and gifts are excluded. Say, the best example that comes to my mind is jewelry.
Okay.
So let's say in an Indian marriage,
Yeah.
there's a lot of jewelry that is given.
For sure.
Any gift, according to the Family Law Act, that is given by a third party, in-laws, cousins, friends, to one particular person would be a gift to that person.
Okay.
And it would not be subject to division
Okay.
in case of a separation.
Okay.
Same thing applies to inheritance.
Right.
Any inheritance that is kept on the side,
Yeah.
not included, would be excluded from Family Law Act and the division. Now, there are always exceptions to that, Manish. Law is all about exceptions.
Okay.
Let's say somebody inherits a business.
Yeah.
The business is kept on the side,
Yeah.
but the other spouse manages the business or puts her effort and
Yeah.
her money into the business.
Yeah.
Then we are looking into a constructive trust argument in which the person can say is there was unjust enrichment on behalf of this person, corresponding deprivation on my side with no juristic reason, meaning I want whatever I put into this property.
I see.
Same thing would apply to common law spouses.
Yeah.
They don't have a direct interest in division,
Okay.
but they would have interest through a trust argument.
Okay. I see. So it can get complicated depending on the scenario.
Very complicated. Family law is not an easy branch,
Yeah.
although on the face of it, it may look easy.
Yeah.
The only easy thing in a family law is divorce. And that too if there are no children or property involved.
Okay, then it could be a simple divorce. Otherwise, So basically, what we're talking about, prenups, postnups, is an agreement between two partners of how they want their assets to be distributed, right? So in such scenarios, in either of these cases, if one of the partners is unreasonable, they don't want to sign a postnup or a marriage contract, is that a red flag?
It might be a red flag for the other person.
Okay.
But if somebody comes to me and say, I have spoken to my spouse and the person is not willing to sign this, I would ask him to reconsider whether he wants to get married or not.
Okay.
That is some indication
Yeah.
that the person is basically getting into the marriage
Yeah.
with an understanding that he or she would be entitled to get half of it. Now, the other thing is sometimes it's cultural.
Okay.
People don't want to sign the agreement because they think it's a bad omen. But again, me being a lawyer, I would say you have to think twice.
Yeah.
What is the main reason this person is refusing to sign this agreement?
Right.
If it's greed,
Yeah.
you may want to reconsider your marriage. But in fairness, people hardly ever are dissuaded by my
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah.
If they are going to go ahead with the marry, they do.
For sure, for sure. So, like, are these prenups or postnups, do they protect men more than they protect women, or is this completely false?
I would say it protects the person with the deeper pocket more.
Okay.
Whether it's a man or a female really does not matter.
Yeah.
I've come across marriages in which it was the wife
Yeah.
who had more assets.
Okay.
It was a wife who was a higher income earner.
Yeah.
So it would protect her
Yeah.
in that case. So I don't think in particular we can say that it would protect one gender over the other.
Yeah.
I think it's more neutral.
I see. So, like, normally, do you see more Gen Zs? Because there's another stat that Gen Zs are more open to consider getting a prenup done. Over 50% of them say that yes, that is something that they will consider. So, do you think that in the future, these kind of agreements are going to, or you are going to get busier with these kind of requests?
I think so because I look at it that from another angle, Manish. When I was growing up, and that was in India, divorce was totally unheard of.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And now the divorce rate is passing 50%, more
Yeah.
than 50%.
Yeah.
So if in the last 20 years or 25 years,
Yeah.
it has gone from, and I'm talking about the South Asian community
Right.
mainly,
Yeah.
it has gone from kind of 1 or 2% to 50%.
Right.
There are chances that it would grow even further.
Right.
And when marriages break,
Yeah.
people fight about two things
Yeah.
mainly. One is children,
Yeah.
and second is property.
Right.
You cannot deal with children in an agreement.
Yeah.
I mean, you can deal with that in a separation agreement, but not in a marriage contract.
Right.
But you can deal with property
Yeah.
in a prenup agreement or a marriage contract. So might as well.
For sure, because I've seen a lot of parents, especially in the last 2-3 years, even they've started talking about prenups, right? If say the girl is, like you said, bringing in a lot of assets, or the boy is bringing a lot of assets, so there has been this discussion about prenups, right? So that's what I feel, that it is an important topic to be discussed, and you know, for others to see that this is something that they can do to protect their loved ones.
Absolutely. Now, the other thing that needs to be looked at is what would eventually happen to the property. Now, prenup agreement or marriage contract for that matter can say that property bought in the name of one party would belong to that party. The other party would have no interest in that property.
Okay, yeah.
And if that is upheld, then a house or a business or whatever automatically gets excluded. So, to answer your point, yes, there will be an increase.
Yeah.
And it would be an increase in the best interest of both the parties. Because as I said, you never know what the future holds.
Yeah.
In 5 years, one of them may be a big achiever,
Yeah.
and the second person may not achieve much at all.
Okay.
So,
I will give you a hypothetical situation. There's been a prenup signed by both parties, willingly signed a prenup agreement. Say the girl is coming with a property. The boy just came to Canada, say comes from India. Now they start living in that house, becomes a matrimonial house, and the boy starts contributing in the house, starts paying utilities, starts paying mortgage, you know, and they live happily. But after, say, 6 years, now the marriage breaks down. Can that prenup be upheld where it states that the property will remain with the girl?
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the entire purpose of an agreement.
Okay, okay.
So if the agreement is not set aside,
Yeah.
then the agreement prevails.
Okay.
And if the agreement says no matter what happens, the house would always stay separate property of the female in this
Okay.
matter,
Okay.
then yes, the husband would not end up getting anything.
Okay.
So, and the agreement would also say no matter how much contribution the husband makes towards the house, he would never get an interest.
I
so the
see.
wording is important.
Okay, okay, and that's why you said that, you know, the husband or whoever, whichever party signs these kind of agreements, they get independent legal advice and they do get suggestion of whether, you know, what they're getting into, basically.
Right. But again, the deeper we go into this, the more complex it becomes. Even independent legal advices are being challenged. There has been accusations in which they say we went to this lawyer's office. The lawyer didn't even ask us anything. The lawyer did not explain anything.
Yeah.
The lawyer just had us sign the document, and
Okay.
he signed the ILA, got his money, and that was it. Now, it's in litigation. And now there's more and more legal malpractice cases coming up
Okay.
in which this accusation is being made. So, especially for the new lawyers,
Yeah.
I would say make sure that the person signs or initials every page
Yeah.
of the agreement.
Okay.
And then there is releases signed
Okay.
on the side
Yeah.
saying, I understand. And if there's anything adverse
Yeah.
against that person,
Yeah.
have him acknowledge, saying, I told you this would be against you. I understand this.
Maybe have him sign an indemnity or
Right.
something like that.
I call it releases.
Okay,
So I
release,
would
okay.
say I release my lawyer from anything because he
Yeah.
has advised me already
Right.
that it would not be a good idea for me to sign it.
Right.
Nevertheless, I want to sign this.
And document the meeting and
Document the
stuff like
meeting
that.
and
Yeah.
keep it in your file,
Okay.
just in case.
Okay, perfect. No, this has been amazing, Mr. Kaler. It's so good of you to share your insights on this pretty important topic. Any last piece of advice for our listeners? It could be in relation to family law, in regards to prenups, or anything else.
Well, I would say I may sound biased, Manish, but it's never too late to see a lawyer. If somebody is anticipating marriage,
Yeah.
see a lawyer.
Yeah.
If there are problems in the marriage, see a lawyer. Even if you are in court,
Yeah.
you're not happy with the lawyer,
Yeah.
get a second advice.
Okay.
And once there's a divorce, the moment you get into a new relationship, see a lawyer. Any time you see a lawyer, obviously it's confidential.
Yeah.
Nobody gets to know, but at least you know what your rights are.
Right.
Secondly, get a lawyer who is experienced.
For sure.
Get a lawyer who knows what a lawyer
Yeah.
needs to do.
Yeah.
It's true for any criminal, civil, family, real
Right.
estate, whatever the thing is.
Right.
Make sure that the person knows what he or she
Yeah.
is
Getting
practicing.
into. Yeah. For sure.
But yes, unfortunately, the marriages would keep on breaking.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people would have problems.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage rate is not going down.
Mm.
I think the institution of marriage is still strong.
Yeah.
And if people can protect their rights
Yeah.
and themselves, they should do it. So that would be my main focus.
That's a great advice. Once again, thank you so much.
Pleasure is mine, and
Yeah.
I'll be happy to come back anytime you want me
Absolutely. We'll have another one. Thank
Sure.
you so much.
Thank you.
This episode of the Kapoor podcast was proudly sponsored by Kapoor Law Firm and Kapoor Australia. If you are enjoying the show and want a one-time discount code, head over to our website, thekapoorpodcast.com, and fill out the form to receive your subscriber-only discount code. Whether you're looking for legal expertise or premium Indian ethnic wear, our sponsors have you covered. One more request to all of you, please do subscribe to the show and leave a comment to let us know what you think and how we can improve. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.